Welcome to The Explainer. So today, we're not just looking at a few random trucks and cargo ships. I want you to literally visualize the global logistics network as a high-stakes, fast-paced mission briefing. Picture a massive, dimly lit room with a glowing, illuminated map where millions of goods are moving all at once. Every single route chosen, every carrier selected, and every dollar spent. That represents a critical strategic move on a global game board. Make the right call, and the whole mission succeeds seamlessly. Make the wrong one? Well, the entire operation grinds to a very costly halt. Okay, let's dive into this because the stakes here are absolutely enormous. 62.8%. In the United States alone, transportation consumes a staggering 62.8% of every single dollar spent on logistics. To put that into an even broader perspective, that equates to 5.2% of the entire national GDP. Think about that for a second. We're talking about the engine that literally drives the whole economy, creating place and time utility for every single product on the market. Section 1. The vehicles of commerce. Let's look at the assets we're working with. All right, here's your tactical dossier on the 4 main modes of transport. Think about how these options compare. Air travel. That gives you the absolute highest speed for your most critical assets. But man, it burns right through your budget with the highest transportation costs, and it's super sensitive to bad weather. On the complete opposite end of the spectrum, we've got water. It's incredibly economical for transporting massive, heavy loads, but it's slow. It requires a huge initial investment, and it is completely at the mercy of the weather. Now, road transport offers you that great door-to-door flexibility, but it tends to lose productivity over very long distances. And rail? Well, rail handles heavy volume beautifully without worrying about highway traffic congestion, but it requires massive infrastructure. So you see, every single mode involves critical strategic trade-offs. Section 2. The economics of movement. Now let's talk about the invisible forces at play. So, transport economics are driven by 7 core factors, and while these aren't direct tariffs, they invisibly influence every single rate you'll ever negotiate. We've got distance, weight, density, stowability, handling, liability, and market forces. Think of these kind of like the gravity and wind resistance affecting our mission. Let's look a little closer at a few of the most fascinating ones here. And this brilliantly illustrates how distance actually works in logistics. It's called the tapering principle. You might think that driving twice as far costs exactly twice as much, right? Well, actually, scratch that. It doesn't. The cost curve doesn't start at 0 because you always have fixed costs for pickup and delivery, whether you drive 1 mile or 1,000. Because those fixed costs get spread out, the cost curve increases at a decreasing rate as you go further. In plain English, longer trips actually become more economically efficient per mile. Then we have stowability, which I absolutely love to call the Tetris of logistics. Picture yourself trying to pack a trailer. If you're shipping nice rectangular steel blocks, hey, congratulations, they fit perfectly together. But what if you're shipping long, oddly shaped steel rods? Even if they weigh the exact same as the blocks, their awkward shape wastes valuable space, or what we in the biz call cubic capacity. A truckload of perfectly nested trash cans, that's a massive win. But shipping just one single unnested trash can, that is a spatial puzzle that literally costs you money. Section 3. The true cost of transport. Let's follow the money. I want you to imagine a cinematic, wide-angle shot of a lone truck driving down a scorching desert highway. It just dropped off a massive load of electronics out on the West Coast, but now it has absolutely nothing to carry back east. It's driving cross-country completely empty. We all know the tragedy of this. It's an industry problem known as deadheading. So here's the million-dollar question. Who actually pays for this lonely, empty return trip? Well, here's the plot twist. Because of what we call joint expenses, the original shipper usually foots the bill. When a carrier decides to take your load from point A to point B, they incur an implicit joint cost for the inevitable backhaul journey. I mean, they have to get the truck back somehow, right? If they can't find another customer to fill that truck on the way back, the labor, the fuel, and the maintenance for that empty return trip, it all gets charged directly against your original front-haul movement. And that, my friends, is exactly why perfectly balanced two-way movement is the absolute holy grail of logistics. So the really crucial point here is understanding how a carrier's costs are actually classified. First, we have variable costs, like labor and fuel. And these change depending on the activity level. This is the absolute floor, the bare minimum a carrier can charge and still survive to drive another day. Then you've got fixed expenses. Think terminals and vehicles. Those must be paid even if the entire fleet is parked during a holiday. And finally, common costs.
This is overhead, like management and terminal expenses, which just get allocated across shippers. Knowing this exact structure, that gives you the ultimate leverage when you're negotiating your rates.
Section 4, Cost versus Service Showdown. It's the ultimate heavyweight title fight in the logistics world. All right, let's pit these two directly against each other. Especially during slow economic recoveries, slashing costs is absolutely vital for basic business survival. Management is basically always looking to shave off transport dollars to protect the bottom line. But on the other side of the ring, modern customers are fiercely demanding. Driven by the internet and continuous inventory replenishment, they expect lightning-fast, just-in-time delivery and absolute 100% product availability. Now, what's really interesting about this is the revelation we get from decades of empirical research. Listen to this quote from Michael McGinnis. Despite all the pressure to cut costs, shippers in the United States generally value service more highly overall than cost when choosing how to move their freight. Think about it. If a massive emergency arises with a VIP client, the price tag just goes right out the window. Reliability, transit time, and keeping the customer happy actually trump saving a few dollars. Section 5. The future. Private terminals. The physical game board is actively expanding. Enter the PFT, or Private Freight Terminal. So historically, private investors built these exclusive private sidings strictly for their own use. But to maximize efficiency and really open up the network, the Indian Railways allowed these to evolve into PFTs. These are common user rail facilities open to importers, exporters, and domestic stakeholders. Suddenly, these formerly exclusive tracks became massive, dynamic new logistical hubs for everyone. Talk about a game changer. Because let's face it, building a terminal miles away from a station requires astronomical capital for new lines and warehouses. It's a massive barrier for smaller players. So the Indian Railways mapped out a pretty brilliant new strategy. Step 1, identify unused, vacant chinks of land right next to existing railway stations. Step 2, permit private investors in through public-private partnerships to build right there on the spot. And Step 3, target high-loading areas near mineral-rich zones, cement plants, and busy ports. It is literally a masterclass in utilizing existing geography to spark massive economic growth. Well, we've covered the vehicles, the economic forces, the hidden costs, and the expanding game board. The global logistics network is constantly shifting, influenced by everything from the weather to backhaul expenses to massive public-private infrastructures. So I leave you with this thought. Armed with the intelligence of how distance, stowability, and service demands truly drive the market, how will you navigate your next logistical move? Think about it, and we'll catch you in the next explainer.